Hi Bernhard, next
Hi,
video.
Carsten.
Now we use our image, right?
Correct. We have 24H2 now with
Yeah.
Office, but that's it, right? So nothing specific that may we require for our users of it, right? So that we may need to have some extra stuff. So let's maybe talk a little bit about why we want to have custom images, right? Well, basically, it's about the applications that are installed inside of the operating system, right? So you probably have your own software that you want to provide to your users, right? It might also be specific agents for deploying software or specific virus scanner that you are going to use rather than the built-in Microsoft ones, right? So that could be a reason. Or we are both two Germans, right? So a lot of customers that we have request that they work with a VDI environment that has a German language, right?
Yeah.
That's an important one. And as you don't get the German marketplace images for Windows 11 multi-session provided by Microsoft, we need to create our own,
Hmm.
right? The optimized one, we already demonstrated this, right? So that's also part maybe of the customization process to use a dynamic virtual hard disk in the
Hmm.
new format like the VHDX file, or you may want to already include the updates into it, or maybe you do some tuning stuff, right? And there is a magnificent tuning tool to squeeze more performance out of your Windows 11 multi-session image, right? So basically what it does, it will remove superfluous services or applications that don't make sense in a virtualized desktop environment. It would remove them and provide more space, and get you maybe more users onto the desktop itself because it's using less resources. There's another thing that sometimes comes up, which is the OS hardening piece, right? So some folks, some companies have restrictions on which kind of images they could use. There might be some guidelines on this ones, and that is also customization if there are hardenings in place. Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense, right? And that's pretty obvious, to be honest. The
Yeah.
other, the thing is maybe a little bit about how we want to do this. And we came up with that process slide. So first of all, we need a starting point, which is our marketplace image. Either if it is the manual download that we did, or if you have chosen to do the portal-based download from the marketplace image.
Yeah.
But this is our base.
Yeah.
What we'll do then is we make a clone of that disk, right? So not in order to overwrite the origin, we will do a copy of it, so that we can go back in time if we really screw things up. And then we will create a virtual machine from it. Do you want to do it now?
No, no,
Or
I want to
no?
I want to add something because
Mhm.
we of course optimized our image that we downloaded from the marketplace, uh, the manual way with the many options. But if you choose an image from the Azure portal, where we only have
Right.
some of them, you should
Mm,
still optimize it. So
correct.
the third step in the last video, you should do that
Mm,
anyway. So you
mm,
get your image down from 127 gigabytes to something
mm,
much smaller. But we will not show this again. If you want to
mm.
see it, go to the last video. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, good point. So then with the Golden Master, we have basically a virtual machine, right?
Hmm.
As a starting point, and we may need to go back to that point, right? So that's why we take a checkpoint of the vanilla VM, if you wish, so that we can travel back in time to that point, and do maybe restart again if something goes wrong.
Hmm.
So then we'll boot it up, and then the installation circle starts, right? So when you install some stuff, maybe you are happy with it and you want to keep that state, then you do a checkpoint, um, or you end up installing more stuff, and then you probably end up doing another checkpoint, right? So you can have maybe a circle of multiple checkpoints here, maybe not always easy to find out which checkpoint is capturing what state. So I would advise you to name the checkpoints, give an indication on what it is being used for. And once you are happy with it, you would probably do the Sysprep, right? So, but before you do the Sysprep of that box, you would probably, have a checkpoint so that you can travel back in time, because after a Sysprep, it is like a new generalized, Windows image where you get all these need to enter the steps like admin password and that kind of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You, I think, will do it the UI way.
Yes.
Right. So running Sysprep the user interface way. However, you can also do it the command line way, basically with these command line parameters. And I was using the mode VM often because in Azure, it's a good practice to, if you're using custom images in Azure, at some point in time, it is saving you a lot of time because it's deployed at a hypervisor anyway, at the same hypervisor anyway, and that saves up a lot of time. So if you end up in problems, then try out that mode using the command line. But I think you are not using it in your environment, and it worked just fine.
On Azure Stack HCI, it works with the GUI way, and we have a lot of PowerShell in our videos, so this is maybe something we don't do on the command line. And if we have a problem, there's always a checkpoint waiting where we can go back to. Yeah.
Good point. Okay, so once we have the Sysprep, right, you may want to also do a checkpoint. It doesn't hurt. It maybe costs only a little bit. However, what you then get is you get a differentiating virtual hard disk series, right? So we probably end up having a lot of virtual hard disks that we need to merge together, and that's the export job, right? So rather than ending up having a lot of files like Charles inheriting from an ancestor or from a father or mother virtual hard disk, we'll do the export and merge the stuff together so that we only have one virtual hard disk.
Yeah, this is why the last checkpoint after the Sysprep process is important. Then we can export the checkpoint. And in that process, we get what's in the checkpoint in one disk, and we can't deploy a checkpoint tree as our master image. So this is very important, the last checkpoint there. And then what we do, we onboard.
Yeah, we onboard the customed image or the customized image onto Azure Stack HCI using the Azure portal, right?
Yeah.
And then we are deploying virtual machines from it, like Azure Virtual Desktop virtual machines, right? And they should get all of the customizations that we did in the image, right?
So let's start with it.
Okay.
Let's say so. I switch to my screen. Maybe we come back to this slide, but first let's start. So I prepared a little bit stuff here. So you maybe remember from the last video we did our we reduced our disk and converted to a VHDX in the image directory, and I took the liberty to create a directory with my golden image name. So I named it Windows 11 Multi-Session 24H2 Golden Master. And in this directory, I created a subfolder virtual hard disk because I like the structure of virtual machine that way. And in virtual hard disk, I copied already the image, so we don't have to wait for the 20 gigabytes to copy here.
Perfect.
So now we want to create a virtual machine. Bernhard, do you want to add something?
No, all good.
All good. Okay. So I opened on a management host, I opened the good old Hyper-V manager, because this is also the possibility to do checkpoints in the GUI and not with PowerShell. And I know a lot of people like the GUI stuff. So I will now create a virtual machine on our node 3. So I will say new virtual machine. Then there is the wizard. I take the same name we have here. That's important. Otherwise, it will create another directory. So let's go here. And I choose the path. This is the default path. We didn't change that on Azure Stack HCI. So I have to go to, let's say here, C, cluster storage, collect, and here is our directory. And now important, if you choose the directory, we have it now here, and you tick this checkbox, it will create this directory as subdirectory here. I don't want that, so I remove this one. So now it will create this directory here, but it's already there. Yeah, so this is the right path. I want a generation 2 VM. Of course, we give the machine, that's not very important, but we give it 8 gigabytes. We will connect it to a network switch. And now we don't create a new disk. We have already our disk, so we have to choose it. Again, choose the path. I can do that a bit faster now. Cluster storage, collect, and then we have our golden master, and in there is our directory with the disk. So we say create a new virtual machine, but we have already our operating system disk. So go next, finish, and then we will modify the machine so it doesn't take too long to install stuff in it. We go to settings, and here we have only one virtual processor. I will increase that, let's say, to 8 or 4. Not really important, but more than one, of course. And go to apply. Yeah, I will change the network because we have, no, we don't have VLAN tags on this switch. Yes, we have. Sorry, I have to change that. So you have, obviously, you have to modify the settings to your environment. Let's see if that works. We give it a VLAN tag.
Yeah, we would probably want to download stuff from the internet if it would be updates or not, right? I mean,
I think that's an important process, maybe to update our image before we deploy it. We will see. You're right. So let's connect to the virtual machine. And now we will see the process you mentioned before. That wasn't good what I did here, so I do it again. It will ask for the Euler, so we have to say yes, we accept the Euler. We have to choose an administrator password. Let's see what else it's asked from us. Come on. So we have to choose a country and a region. You can go with that, or we can modify it to German. Should we change it? Maybe the keyboard would be nice, because I have a German keyboard, not a German keyboard.
Yeah, I mean, that is part of every Sysprep process, or basically, like, if you restart after a Sysprep thing, right? So that dialog should come in one more time. But
yeah.
Anyways, I mean, do whatever you feel comfortable with it. We will Sysprep it anyway. However, we will
Sysprep it again, right?
We will need to work with it. So that's why we make it a little bit more comfortable for us.
So we will the process you mentioned. So we will update the virtual machine. We will install one application, and then we start with the Sysprep. And the language thing we will do in a separate video. So if you are fine with English language, you can jump over the next one. We will not do it in this one because it would be a longer one. But if you are from France, from Germany, from I don't know, Norway, India, whatever, and you want to change your language settings, that will be in the next video.
An optional video, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So I can now sign in, I guess. Yeah, with the right password, of course. So it will ask me some things. I go with no here, only the basic stuff. We don't have handwriting in this image. This is a first start experience. You know that already. So this is maybe a good time to take a snapshot. Now, we didn't do it before we started the VM. It was in the slides, but I forgot it, to be honest. So at least we should take a snapshot here. And in Hyper-V Manager, you have here a checkpoint, and you can name it afterwards. Sometimes it asks for the name of the checkpoint, but we can always go here if we see the checkpoint. Yeah. So this checkpoint we can rename, but most important is maybe what checkpoint the system is doing. This is now a production checkpoint. So if we use a checkpoint, the VM is started new. Maybe a standard checkpoint where we can continue where the process was is maybe better. So I would change the VM to here under settings. We can choose that we want not a production checkpoint, we want a standard checkpoint. So then we can start, if we use the checkpoint, the system is running, or the VM is running from where it was. So it's on and we can continue. Okay. Okay, now
so
we
it's
are here.
that it's about the quality of that checkpoint. Is it application consistent or is it data consistent? That was in the wording, but okay. How do you want to call it? First start,
or
okay.
how would you say it? I'm
All
always
good,
bad
all
with
good,
names, you know that.
all good. I mean, okay.
Okay.
Now this is our starting point. Okay, and next thing would be updates. Do you want to go updates first, or do you want to install Visual Studio Code? I think that's what you wanted to install, right? As application.
That's right. Yeah, I would say we do both. So let's switch here to the machine. Let's enter
both
update.
Both what?
Both updates and Visual Studio Code.
Okay.
So check for updates. Let's check for updates. And also I open Edge because I want to install Visual Studio Code.
Okay.
And the newest version is always available in the internets. So let's just configure our browser, and we will see if we do we have? Yes, we have. VS Code. Let's see if internet works. Yes, it does. Of course, I accept this. And we go to Visual Studio Code, visualstudio.com. That's okay. So now we could just download Visual Studio Code, but unfortunately, this is a version that is only for the user who is installing it. So we are in a multi-session host, and when we install applications, we want to install them in a multi-user mode, so that every user can use them. And for that, we have to go to this download button, so the up right here. And then we get different options. And this would be the user installer, you see also here, but we have to download the system installer. And this will install Visual Studio Code for every user that will use this, session host. So I click here, and it's downloading. And let's open the path.
And the same principle applies to other applications as well, right? So because, and we, there might be errors that some of you that are familiar with Sysprep have already seen, right? So some common errors in Sysprep is where some component or some piece of software is installed only for the one user, however not available for all the other users. Then sometimes a Sysprep fails just for the reason of the wrong installation, right?
Yeah. Okay. So here we have updated some security patches, and we are offered a big one, a cumulative update preview, but I would skip that because this will take a while and it's a preview. So it's not the usual thing I say. Or what would you say? Should we install this? No, it's an
No, I
optional
think,
update.
as it is previews, I mean, you can do it. However, I agree. I mean, it's just for the, we did some updates. That should be it for the demonstration, right?
Okay, so we can now do another snapshot. It's always good to have multiple snapshots. What I'm doing here. How did I do that? Okay, we do another one. Just before we install Visual Studio Code.
Okay.
And I will rename it. I will just say before before VS Code installation. So, and just let install it. So accept. Now it installs it in the program files directory. Yeah, we get a menu. We will not create a desktop icon. It would only be, I guess, in the administrator desktop, not in the user desktops. And installing applications in a multi-session host or RDS host is, of course, something we can only touch, and that's not our expertise. There are a lot of videos out there and information, so look that up. I will not launch Visual Studio. I will just finish it. So now I have installed it, and now let's do a Sysprep.
One comment maybe to the applications in general. So for some of the applications, they bring their own internal update mechanism, right? So there is software out that checks for itself, for its specific version, hey, is there an update available or not for me? At some point in time, it might be useful to disable this process because you're not intending to have the user to see the update dialog. It's something that you provide for the user, right? So if an update occurs, it would be you creating a new version of that image and doing that image and distributing it to the users, right? Yeah,
that's totally right. So let's do the Sysprep. So the Sysprep is placed under Windows. Then we have the System 32, and then we have a Sysprep. So here we have the Sysprep application, and you can call it on a command line or PowerShell, or you can just do it here, and you have a little graphical tool. So let's here, and we have to decide if we want the out-of-the-box experience or the audit mode. We want the out-of-box experience, and we want to generalize the image or the system, and we want to do it while we shut down the system. So if we do the reboot, it will generalize the system and then restart the system and ask the questions again. But we want to have an image that has the state. So let's just do it, and then we will see if we have some problems, because if we get problems with the Sysprep process, it will mention it here, and then there is a directory in the Sysprep folder where we can check for the problem. So it would be in the Panther directory here.
Correct.
Yeah. You want to say something, Bernhard?
No, exactly this, right? So if you are fast, then you could move to that folder and demonstrate it to the users. However, in case anything happens, that would be the go-to place for troubleshooting.
I open the PowerShell. No, I don't want this. So let's move it up here. Go to Windows, System 32, Sysprep. That one was that was not. Come on. Sysprep, and then we have the Panther directory, and my keyboard is. So here we have some files, and it's shutting down. So everything went well. It will be shut down, and then we do another snapshot or checkpoint. Sorry, snapshot is the old name, checkpoint. And then we can export the directory. So for that, I want to go to the virtual machine directory to show the different files where the problem is. Oh, this is very small. Now it's bigger. Okay, here's our directory. And in virtual hard disk, we have our image and
Yep.
2 AVDX files. So these are differentiating disks that are based on this one. And if we take this disk now as our image, it would be when we did our first snapshot. So there would not be Visual Studio in there. There would be not any patches in there. Our actual version is consists of all 3 disks. So I can't take this one and I can't take the 3 of those. So we have to do another snapshot that we now have the state with the finished Sysprep process. So we'll do it again. Where is it? Checkpoint. I said snapshot again. That's an old name. So when I say snapshot, of course, I mean a checkpoint. So now we do rename it again and say F2 after Sysprep. Okay. And now we have another file, this one, but it's only 4 megabyte, and we didn't start the machine. So if we now start the machine, every change will go into this file.
Yep.
But now I can say, please export me this point in time. So if we go here and say export, he wants a location, and he will export the virtual machine. So let's just do it under C system. Images, that we have another path, because he will take the same name as the virtual machine, just to show it. So I will open another file explorer. This is another one. No, I don't think so. I think this is the same. So open Explorer, move it here. Then we go to // $C$, and here is our system directory, images, and there we have our virtual machine. And if we look here, we have now only one file, and it's still writing. So the export process is not finished. You see it here. Now it's finished. Now we have one virtual hard disk, and everything here is now
part of it. So it's merged.
Part of it in this image. And we can now take this one and use it to deploy our session hosts.
But before we can do that, you need to put it into a place on the cluster where we can onboard it as an image for the Azure Virtual Desktop portal wizard, right?
Yeah, I would say we do that. We now put in another video where we do the language. So we install the German language, and after that we also have an image, and based on that image, we'll have the same name. We go on in the video after that and put it on the right place, and then we can deploy our virtual machine. That would I say, because we want to do something else with this machine. We want to install the German language pack and so on. And after that, we have to do it again, right? Okay, so let's finish up this video, and we see you on the next one, or in the one after the next one, if English is your preferred language.